Hello indie game fans, it's another massive week of indie games, so let's begin with Touhou Red Empress Devil, an action roguelite that has characters from the Touhou project and is set in the Scarlet Devil Mansion, which is a recurring location in the series. This is a bullet hell roguelite with distinct rooms, so think Binding of Isaac, with a decidedly Touhou feel, and looks pretty good, so check it out. Here's a very cozy title in Snufkin Melody of Moominvalley, a musical adventure game that is based on the beloved Moomin characters, but has you playing the role of Snufkin that has to restore harmony and balance to Moominvalley. You are fending off the machinations of the industrious parkkeeper who intends to create a series of hideous parks in which our protagonist must cause trouble to foil the plans of the antagonist. There's puzzles, stealth, and even musical melodic elements, all wrapped up with a very pleasant art style. Love indie games? Sign up to my newsletter to get a weekly dose of what's hot, along with some news and of course, weekly game giveaways, so if interested, link is in the description below. The early access release of Townscaper in 2020 opened the doors for a whole class of other games, which I would title the interactive toy, in that they are video games with graphics, music, sound effects, and are programs that you can interact with, but lacks everything else that a video game has, such as levels, points, goals, timers, or any other objective really, simply allowing you to tinker with it and to see what you can build, with the latest being SUMMERHOUSE. We are creating a number of houses and can create a little neighborhood of them, with the developer wanting to recreate the feeling of the seemingly endless childhood summers of no responsibilities or stress, and looks to be nailing exactly what they are going for. On perhaps the polar opposite end of things is the frustration platformer of games like Getting Over It, Quop, or Jump King, with the next title of note being a difficult game about climbing. This looks to be more Getting Over It in terms of look and feel of a man in a loincloth using just his hands to climb, with the euphoria of getting to the next obstacle contrasted with the crushing disappointment of falling and having to restart. It might be streamer bait to some extent, and I do wonder if this game will have a narrator like in Getting Over It, which adds to the overall presentation, and comes to us from YouTuber and game developer Pontypants, which makes it of note. Quilts and Cats of Calico is a digital adaptation of a board game that sees you creating patterns on quilts, sewing buttons and attracting cats in order to score the most points. New in this digital version is a story campaign, which is inspired by the work of Studio Ghibli that sees you determined to succeed in a city that worships cats, being a whole separate single-player mode, which is a nice companion to the more classic competitive multiplayer aspect of the tabletop version. You are also able to create your own cat, giving it a name, choosing the color of its fur and so much more, which can then appear on the game board as part of the main game. There's online and offline multiplayer support, so you can find other players to play with, and will be releasing this week with a launch discount of 10% off, so definitely check it out if you're interested in strategy games. Other games begin with the 1.0 release of ABRISS Built to Destroy, a physics puzzle game in which you are constructing gigantic structures and contraptions using here's an interesting action roguelite in Ancient Weapon Holly, one that comes to us from Japanese developer Acquire Corp, which is a huge company, so it's fascinating to see them make a game like this, in which this game has an almost Lode Runner style mechanic of digging pits to trap enemies, which is weird but interesting. Ball Blasters is a mining roguelite title that seems to have Vampire Survivor's inspiration, taking the satisfaction of numbers going up but translating that into a digging and mining game and looks neat. Chasing the Unseen is a 3D platformer that sure seems to have some Shadow of the Colossus DNA, in which you are scaling these massive creatures and looks intense.
We are in occupied France. We are outmanned, outgunned, but the enemy's strength blinds them.
A turn-based tactics title set in World War II is classified France 44, which is set in Nazi-occupied France, where your crew needs to tactically take out the occupying forces.
We are an army of shadows. And our mission is classified.
A not-so-indie title is Expeditions, a MudRunner game that comes to us from Saber Interactive, which, if you're subscribed to my newsletter, you will know that they bought themselves back from the Empress group, with this looking to be a similar kind of realistic driving simulation title complete with mud physics, but in the context of going on scientific expeditions. Not to be confused with Mage and Monsters is Mortal Glory 2, a turn-based tactical roguelite that is the sequel to a game from 2020 and has character variety as well, which gives you plenty to think about in terms of strategy.
relaxing city builder made by one person.
As explained by the developer, this is a promising city builder title, so if you love the genre, do check out Orrstead.
To a sprawling settlement, unlock new technologies, complete quests, and adapt to the changing seasons. Coming March 7th.
An awesome-looking, minimalist factory builder title is 64, a game that has idle or incremental elements in addition to the synergistic construction of games like Factorial, and has a great look as well. I'm not sure if Star Racer will release this week, since it is earmarked for Saturday for some reason, and the developer's social channels don't have any mention of the release, but in the case it does, this is an F-Zero-like combat racer that looks awesome, from the speed of the action to the ability to build and customize your own levels. A 1.0 release of interest is Stolen Realm, one that has been in early access for slightly less than 2.5 years and is a tactical dungeon crawler which has 1,700 Steam reviews as of recording, so it has its fans and might be worth a look.
I'm a Thaumaturge, and staring into the depths of the human soul is my craft. As classy as that sounds, there are times where I have to get my hands dirty. Hey, Suski!
After a little bit of a delay, the Thaumaturge launches this week, and is a story-driven RPG set in Warsaw, Poland, in the 20th century where magic is afoot, and has turn-based JRPG-style combat, in addition to choose-your-own-adventure choices of a narrative RPG, and looks like a potential hit. Time to Morp self-describes as Slime Rancher meets Factorial, so of course I'm in, and while I'm not completely sold on the visuals, the gameplay here might make up for it. There are a number of city builders of interest this week, another of which is United Penguin Kingdom, in which you are leading a weddle of penguins who can somehow construct buildings with defense elements as you fight off seals and killer whales. This next title looks impressive, but is not an indie game, since Winter Survival comes to us from Drago Entertainment, which is a listed company on a stock exchange, but it's a first-person survival game that looks similar to The Long Dark, and you know how survival games have a funny way of blowing up in popularity. Another game which I'm not sure will release this week is Corrupted Dawn of Havoc, since it has a Sunday release date penciled in, but this is a self-styled, hardcore auto-battle roguelite deck builder or hard game, and has a considerable amount of momentum going in. As described, this is a roguelite deck builder in which you're building a team of characters and a deck of skill cards in which your team automatically fights the enemy in real time, but you're able to strategically use your cards to get an advantage and might be another potential hit.
As the commander, you hold the fate of a world, now teetering on the edge of darkness in your hands.
The long in development Zoria Age of Shattering makes it to release as well, a classically designed party-based CRPG, of which the bar is now set very high in Baldur's Gate 3, so I wouldn't go in expecting the same thing, but it looks to be a solid entry in the space.
Your bravery is the spark of hope.
This has the classic high fantasy setting and turn-based combat, but also introduces crafting and survival elements like the need to rest, along with an entire base building aspect, so if you love the genre, do check this one out.
The wise commander is always ready. Your duty is to unearth the mysteries of civilizations long forgotten, to unlock the secrets of their ancient technologies. Bear in mind, your choices carve out the future. Strategy, management, careful preparation.
If you're an indie developer and have no idea how to start with marketing your game, get on my mailing list via the link in the description below, where I'll send you some free templates and guides soon. Surprise! Here's another interesting title that kind of mixes genres, since Bleed Prince Academy is a tactical RPG but has real-time with pause combat, so don't go expecting Fire Emblem with this game. If left alone, combat does play out in real time, but the ability to pause, plan and issue commands does add to the strategic depth of the game. You're leading a party of Blade Princes who have to defend the city from an external threat, but these characters are still students at the academy, so you need to balance that with academic and social lives as well, having some time management aspects and perhaps a little bit of Persona 5 in this game as well. The long-in-development pixel art action platformer makes it to launch in Berserk Boy, a game that looks to pay tribute to Mega Man in more ways than one, in which our hero is protecting the world from a mad scientist and his forces. You have elemental forms to call upon, such as lightning, fire, earth and air, and simply looks like an awesome throwback title that I hope will meet expectations. It's been a good couple of weeks for strategy roguelite fans since we had the release of the immensely successful Balatro, with next week also bringing us another great game, but first let's look at Backpack Battles, which I'm telling you will be one of the most popular games of the year. This is a roguelite auto-battler with asynchronous PvP, so think Super Autopads crossed with Backpack Hero and you get the idea. A special mention goes to Patreon member and indie game ultra fan Sean H, and if you love strategy roguelites, watch this video for 50 upcoming titles of the year.